My name is Lizzie. I keep bringing along some origami films to encourage you to take some time out for yourself. Give yourself that time, fold something beautiful, and you will find that it will lift your mood. You're just focusing on the very beauty of paper and what's possible with so little. Just giving yourself some time really out. So this week I thought I'd bring along a really beautiful, I think it's incredibly beautiful fold. This is a traditional piece of origami, and it sort of predates what we think of as origami as being very playful. And I have been very fortunate to go to Japan recently, and I was given this beautiful book by a researcher, which was so kind of her. It was a gift, and I've learnt so much from this book. Just a few pages really explaining more. It's from the International Origami Association, which we visited, an amazing place. And this is really a book of traditional folds. So some of them will be maybe up to 1,000 years old, folds that are used to really wrap gifts. So I always thought that origami is very much from a gift-giving culture, and I tend to think of origami as being the gift itself, but actually it comes from the idea of very beautiful wrapping, the wrapping of gifts and giving them. And in Japan, very much modesty is important. So gifts are a way of showing your sincerity and thanks and thoughtfulness towards somebody else, but actually not opening presents in front of people. So that's something that you do privately. So giving people a gift, and it needs to be wrapped, and ideally beautifully. And so this idea of very beautiful wrapping with paper, traditional washi paper, comes from the samurai class, and they would give each other gifts but wrapped, and also the wrappings can suggest what's inside there as well. So I found this fascinating, and I'm very excited to start sharing with you some of these traditional folds. So they're very old, and I particularly like this, and at the moment it's the season of giving, as you can see in the background, and for loved ones for relatives I've been wanting to send just really a gift card, but that seems a bit dull. So I thought the idea of folding a samurai token wrapping would be really special. So the gift card could be put up inside there. Now if you use traditional sized origami paper, it would be tiny. I think all you could do is fit in a little tiny coin. So I recommend using wrapping paper, which is what I've done here, and I think the effect's really nice. So I thoroughly recommend that. I will show you from A4 paper. Again, it's a good size, but maybe you could think about using wrapping paper, but I think practice first. And I think this will be really great for special gifts this year. So grab yourself something to press on. I'm going to grab a piece of paper. I am very quickly going to add a bit of colour to one side, so you know as well which side is which. Here we go. So I'll just do it slightly festive, really quick. There we go. That's it. So the piece of paper that you want to make should be 2 by 1, roughly. It doesn't matter too much, but it's worth getting roughly. So as I said, you don't need to be exact. I am going to remove around this much. So it will be 2 by 1. So for A4 paper for us, that's our usual size. It's around 28.8 this way. So removing this will leave about 14.4 roughly, but it doesn't matter too much. You can experiment. So I'm going to remove this, and I love that it's a crane as well. So I might, just check with my diagram as well. That's great. So here goes. So of course it would have been passed on not through diagrams, but within families and sharing how to fold. So really lovely. And then with time, people have then become more playful and just creating animals and decorations for the sake of it, because it's beautiful and fun and good for the imagination. So taking one corner and folding it over, we're going to make a sort of cross at one end. So I'm just folding one end. Enjoy those very accurate, firm folds. And then we'll do the other fold. Now the actual traditional washi paper, which is gorgeous, is much softer actually than this sort of paper. And gift paper, again, it can be different too, but each has its own beauty. So I have just done a sort of diagonal cross at the top. Next I'm going to turn it over and I am going to do a fold halfway there in the middle. There we go. Like so. There we go. So you should now be able to get your fingers underneath that. Push and it pops. And it goes to that lovely shape. And then push it down. If we go to the back, you'll see you can bring in the sides, push it down. Like so. That's it. Lovely. So I'm just going to turn it around the other way. That's it. Right, first of all, I'm going to take the bottom flap and just fold it back along the line that's there. There we go, just so it's kind of nice little clear lines that'll help us. So our next step will be to take this side and fold it up along the vertical there. There we go. Again, probably helps to see what you're doing. I think I'm going to see what I'm doing there. There we go. So one side, and if you do the same with the other. So bringing this up, and in the moment we do the fold, it'll feel quite familiar to the crane actually, but it's not going quite as far as the crane. More of a gentle suggestion of a crane. Okay, so we're going to start working on the crane a bit. So we're just going to open up one side there, and I want you to put your finger in down to the bottom and then move it across and squash it down. There we go. So keeping it along the middle there. There we go. Now, as you would with the crane, taking this top edge and folding it along that vertical line, like so. And the same there. Okay, and I think I'll see what I'm doing. But hopefully you're getting the idea there. Those two top edges, like so. Right, as you would with the crane, opening it up, it would be quite useful actually to do a little fold there, the bottom of the triangle. I'm going to try to do that if I can. Opening it like so, but not to worry. The idea is for you to gently roll in the sides like the crane. It's always a tricky step, but just go patiently, trying to roll in the sides so it goes from a point up here down to a point at the bottom, and the same on the other side. Again, this is always a bit of a tricky move. Get those fingers in there, gently encouraging it all to kind of lie down and get nice and flat there. There we go. And then if you take this, bring it up and sort of turn the page, and that's sort of already the tail of your crane. It's a more simplified crane than the one that we think of. Now on the other side, again, opening that flap, same thing. We're going to take our piece of paper there, pop your finger into the bottom and push it across and squash it down. And the same thing, this top edge, folding along that vertical line. And I think in folding you're taking that time and care, and that's exactly what it is, because this is used to show your time and care to somebody else, that you've really spent time thinking of them with this kind of intricate wrapping. And I think it deeply touches someone if they thought that someone has actually spent that time and care making that effort for them. Opening it up, and again we're going to be sort of folding it down there. So I'm going to open this up almost like a little bird's beak, and again trying to encourage, always tricky, put your finger in there, and what you're trying to do is get a little point up here and work it all the way down to the bottom there. Go patiently, take your time, and then the same on the other side. So again, getting your finger in and you're trying to roll it in until you get to the point of it flattening down. I'm going to have to do it myself. You know what, however many times you do things, you still have to concentrate, and that's a wonderful thing. So it's managed to flatten down there. Now bring it up and again turn that page. So what you've got now is something which really does resemble a little bit of a crane. You know, these are simpler kind of illusions, I think, than the more detailed maybe crane that you're used to. So this can be the tail and this will be the head. So I'm going to make the head here. I'm going to push that in. And bring it in to make a little head. There we go. So that's the bird. Hope that's working so far. That was a tricky bit. I hope that worked for you. Be persistent, you'll get there. Now we're going to turn to the back, and we're going to give a little rim here, a little edge. Now if this is wrapping paper, this is quite nice because it gives you a nice little white area. And I think then the bird sort of sticks out nicely against it. So it's this little bit which you're making now. So this little rim. As I said, wrapping paper is great because you get a different colour on the back usually. So next we're going to turn it round. And we're going to take the top. This is the point you can actually seal in your little present potentially. Or you can maybe write a little note or a letter, a little gift in other forms, or a poem. So can you see it just slots in really nicely behind the bird, making sure it's lined up at the edges. And then squash down. That's it. And then really we're very close now. So we're going to take one side and bring it back. Now I recommend not quite pressing down at the back yet, because you want to make sure that it looks symmetrical. Same with the other side. So bringing this back and just checking that you feel happy about the width. The important thing is at the back that they should overlap. Doesn't matter how much, but it needs a bit of an overlap, because the idea is that there's no glue for this. So those of you who love that kind of purist side, I think that's also the basis as well for these gift wrapping, that there isn't glue, which is rather beautiful. So you're going to take one side and tuck it in. So there's a little pocket there, and you should be able to just slide that in hopefully. And there you go. So if you turn it round, that should be your beautiful little cover. Oh, we can see that's not quite symmetrical. So you might need to make sure you've definitely got it symmetrical there. It's worth that attention to detail. Again, all these things are practice, and hopefully you'll end up with something like this. And as I said, I do recommend using maybe you know, nice papers that you can find, wrapping papers, and this is where you can put your gift in. Obviously you can open it up and pop that gift in at the front there, so it really is held quite well. Maybe you could write a little message on the back, please open. I hope that's a lovely gift, and yeah, I think expressing your care and your thanks, and it can just be tiny in this way, will be really appreciated by someone, and it's a lovely thing to focus on: gratitude towards others and respect. Thank you.